I got my biggest statement about my program today, my players in this program, is that we grew up today. I was very proud of their effort and their attitude when things got really tough. And a great, obviously, a fight, and a lot of respect for Kelly and Northeastern. And, we really did step it up a notch and grew up today.
Coach, just talk about how hard it is to play with multiple players in the court with the 4 fouls.
Well, we're down in Blacksburg with that same scenario, and that's why I said I felt like I could see it in their eyes and every timeout, and they were learning how to manage the frustrations because we're going to have them night after night. We have Sid Epps who's been out a little bit, getting back. She's just been a great advocate of talking to these guys about that, getting people pumped up and understanding the fight. And obviously Kelly knows, and Krystal right here, because they've gone through it all last season, but with a much better attitude and approach, I think, this year. So it's tough. Blacksburg was a struggle, and then I thought we've learned from that game.
Coach, just talk about the play of the 2 players to your left and your right. It seemed like anytime you just really needed a big play or something good to happen, especially down the stretch, one of them stepped up, and especially Krystal with the 14 assists, Kelly 22 points, so definitely a big game for both of them.
Just incredible. We just kept running things at her, for her, or even just going away, back to her, and trying to get the ball inside out too, because E was doing a great job, and so was Angie tonight. But then as soon as they got the ball, they were being attacked. So I thought they handled that pressure to see these guys. So many good things. But down the stretch, the execution down the stretch, I thought Krystal led the team extremely well, and Kelly followed through, with her part. I thought she was listened, she was patient, and she executed as well. So I think that's what made the difference.
Would you say, for this game in particular, the offensive mindset, the focus was to work the ball down low, or were you okay with all the ball movement on the perimeter and taking the open shot if it was there? Would you have liked to see the ball moved inside down low? Because Northeastern did do a pretty good job of covering A-Lo, covering Angie for the most part. That's really, I guess you could trigger the 4 fouls.
They wanted to go in more. There was a lot of times we were going around the perimeter. We know what we need to do and keep developing. They kept us on our heels, and that was their game plan. We talked about it. We had a quick turnaround. And so with that being said, you can't go over everything they've done in the past, how many games have played? 12 games. So we definitely talked about it. We showed it. We walked through it. And then we talked about it before the game started that you're going to keep us off our heels. You're going to probably see a sag or a triangle 2, or you're going to see some type of 2-1-2 set. And they pretty much saw everything. My statement was, you're going to see everything with the kitchen sink in the pregame. And everybody's looking at me and then they saw everything but the kitchen sink tonight. For Northeastern to win, they were pulling everything, pulling out all stops, and great because we got better today because of them.
Kelly,
No, go ahead.
Kelly, 22 points. How were you feeling? You missed the last game with the flu. Were you feeling ill coming into this one, or were you 100%?
Well, if you can't tell my voice, yeah, my voice is kind of gone, but no, I'm perfectly fine. I wanted to be out there with my team, but I knew it was best that I, sat this one out so long season, as Coach K said. So I'm great. I'm better than ever.
Coach, you had 5 players in double figures, 3 with double-doubles. Can you talk about how nice it is just to get production from so many places?
Yeah, fantastic. the first thing I said in the post game was obviously 14 assists by Krystal. I thought that was just dynamic. And then we talked about that we rebounded better than them, and then we always talk about if we could have multiple players in double figures, we're going to be doing the right thing. So, we know what we want to do. We know we want to keep feeding our dynamic posts more, and the better they continue to get, the more difficult we're going to be to defend. And so it's people can keep trying everything we try. We just got to keep proving that we can, we can win it against all odds. So I thought like we did that tonight. We had a lot of adversity we had to face, and we had to control what we can control, and do our best to grind it out, and we did.
Krystal, as a player, and maybe even for Kelly, if your voice can hold up, what is it like as a player to play in games like this, especially early in conference, these tough overtime, hard-fought games? What does it say for your team going forward down the stretch, especially for the atmosphere in games like this that you guys know you can win games?
We always think about it like it's preparation for the CA tournament. We already have 4 games in overtime. Right?
4.
Yeah,
4.
There being a lot. So we always think it's a preparation because at the end of the day it's every team knows you. Like in the conference, every team knows you and every team knows like what you're doing. They know personnel really well. So it's always a preparation. Like we always say, it's our next game. Our next game is the important game because it's our next game. So all these games like help us to like get better.
Yeah, coach. Angie White had a double-double off the bench.
Yeah,
What did you think of that? I mean, she looked really impressive to me.
She helped us down the stretch defensively, and she can score. So you guys see that she can score, and when we got to keep feeding her the ball, and she's gritty, and she'll be there with you in the trenches at the end. And I think everybody was proud of her and E. Thought they did a good job of team, and they did a good job of E on 33, obviously on Sally, and then Samantha played a great game. She was hard to defend, and they're pushing for more scoring in our game, and it made it difficult for us to defend a little bit. So that's an opinion I will not discuss on the air. So and we have to just adjust. I mean, the maturity of it, even as a coach, as my staff, as the bench, is that we have to grow up, and we can't get involved in the emotional swings of this. And that's another thing I'm really proud of these guys. It's like, our next game is our most important game, and we're not crying over anything. We're not sweating over anything. We sure have a lot of pride, and we have a lot of confidence, but we just got to keep it steady and keep that gut grind steady. And that's kind of my job of navigating the ship right now, and not let one more game be more important than the next. And I think that's maturity, and we're beginning to get that.
Coach, talk about your first matchup, Kelly Cole, Northeastern. Very tough game, obviously, but 3-8 out of conference, but still in conference. It really doesn't mean that much when you talk about
This is
in the
fun. I've
podium.
always enjoyed being in the CA. When Wendy Larry was in here, when you had Deb Taylor, every night you were with people that you knew. Obviously, I was personally friends with those guys too, but and obviously now you got Denise and you got Kenny, but you know how good they are. We got to keep fighting for the respect of our league, because we have some dynamic coaches in our league, and I think I think our players, give us the most, of what we can do in our league. I mean, but I think, she does a great job. She comes from a good, background with Kathy at BC. She's knows all, been part of that Northeastern area up there in basketball for years, and she's good. So it makes it fun. It gives us a lot of challenges, especially when we're on the winning end. It's not fun. But, we need to have a lot of respect for coaches, the teams in our league, and our league in general. We had someone here in our last game, and they couldn't get over the size and the physical and the speed, and that's where our league has headed. I've been in our league, how many years now? 9, 12, 14 years. So I watched where we were, where we had smaller players, not as strong, from post to guards, to we are just as physical, just as tough of the A10, mountain, whatever you want to call it, anything. I think your ACCs and your Big 12s, you take the 6 from the bottom down, we're right, so you have that top tier of physicality is what I'm talking about, and I think we do a great job in our league. I have to give that a little plug, but it needs to be, because we need to be getting higher RPIs, and we need to respect our league.
And Coach, you've had a lot of production off the bench in general the past few games. What has been clicking for the players off the bench?
Just believing in their role. I mean, these guys can probably tell you they do a good job of, whether it was Aliana coming in, that you try to tell that to a freshman who Krystal found her in transition. She got an extra possession for us. I think they know you're learning it when you're a freshman, but I think these guys do a good job of circling back to them and telling them how important, and it allows us to go to them more. Allows me as a head coach to have trust to go to them more. So I know everyone is capable. They just need to. They have their opportunities, they seize their opportunities and do well. So I was really proud of the minutes she had, the minutes Steph Ramos had in the last game, and Olivia hit a 3 in the last game. Like, those are the things that they continue to have confidence. Everybody just embraces their role when they come in, and they do their job. They don't try to shoot out of their wheelhouse or do things out of their role. So we just got to keep plugging in that area. But certainly have enjoyed the depth that we had.
Coach, you're 2-0 in conference. What are you going to do Friday against Drexel?
Grind it out. Love to blow it out, but we know reality. We will go and to take everything we can get. We got a quick turnaround against them, but so they do too. We've always had great battles with them. As you know, they control tempo. We can't let them control tempo, and it is what it is. Drexel is Drexel. We give so many references to teams we play in non-conference, to that was a team like Drexel, or that was a team like Drexel, or they run the same system. So, Denise and I have been in here for a long time, so it will definitely be a battle. But that I smile and laugh and love the competition because that's what makes it fun. And we've had some success down there, so these guys are motivated, and so let's get to it. On with the next one.
Any other questions?
Thank you.